It is the 20th anniversary of Disney's Atlantis: The Lost Empire, so let's talk about my movie theory with Kida and her very questionable Lannister-style lineage. Hi guys, welcome to the Fangirl. I'm your hostess McGann, and can we talk for half a minute about how underappreciated Disney's post-Renaissance era is? If that term is new for you, the post-Renaissance era is where Walt Disney Animation Studios released Fantasia 2000, Dinosaur, The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, and Bolt. Most people consider this to be a slump in Disney's animated history because a lot more computer effects started to be used, and the quality of the overall storytelling really dipped. Well, that is with the exception of Lilo and Stitch, which was generally well received from day one. There is also a notable lack of character singing in the post-Renaissance era, which is what makes a Disney film live forever. What were all these directors thinking cutting all the songs like that? But despite the general disinterest that most people have for this era, I mean, hey, at least 4 of those movies were good. If you have a favorite from that list, leave it in the comments. And to show my appreciation of the post-Renaissance era, I want to do a theory on Atlantis: The Lost Empire. To do a quick recap, the movie opens with Princess Kida as a tiny kid and her mother gets sucked up into a bright light as the city goes down. Then, many moons later, Milo Thatch, a professor in linguistics and cartography, or wordy word lover and map guy, is obsessed with finding the lost city of Atlantis. Lucky enough, a rich old guy has a book that will lead Milo and a crew of treasure hunters there, and after going through some barriers and booby traps, Atlantis is found! Along with all of the original inhabitants who are thousands of years old. The crew then meets Princess Kida, who Milo promptly falls for, and Milo has to provide a lot of translation services as the only person who can read Atlantean, for unexplained reasons, because if all the same people are still alive from when Atlantis sunk into the ocean, then they would have no reason to not be able to still read their own texts. I don't get it. But to skip some interesting spoilers, Kida fuses with the crystal that powers the city, which was the same bright light that gobbled up her mother. Kida then activates a lot of iron giants, and then the crystal spits her out. But not Kida's mother, even though she clearly should have still been alive based on everyone else's longevity. I don't know what's going on here. But then, Kida and Milo run Atlantis, and all of their friends go home rich. The end. The movie is probably a lot better than I'm making it sound, but I will note that I hate the animation style for this film. There's a lot of very blatant 3D animation that does not mix in well with the 2D style, and a lot of the characters look like Disney mashed their work up with Butch Hartman. I just don't like it when characters have really jagged edges. I mean, it's fine for Fairly Odd Parents where the subject matter is always silly, but a more serious movie deserves more realistically shaped characters. That's just my opinion, but it does take me out of the movie constantly. But for today's theory, I want to talk about the Crystal of Atlantis and how it ate up Kida's unnamed mother. The interesting thing is that Kida's father, the king, explains to us that in times of great peril, the crystal will choose a host of royal blood to protect itself.
In times of danger, the crystal will choose a host, one of royal blood, to protect itself and its people. It will accept no other.
Now here's the strange thing. Kida's mother appears to be the same origin as everyone else in Atlantis, which means it's probably safe to say that she's a native Atlantean. Her skin, her hair, her clothing, even the way she speaks, it all suggests that she has been an Atlantean her entire life. It's also safe-ish to assume that if the crystal only takes people of royal blood, that means the crystal likely only wants people who are royal blood to Atlantis. Because why would a sentient crystal be like, yo, the Queen of Scotland's looking good over there, let's inhabit her body and hope that she never goes back to her homeland and takes our massive powers with her. You see what I mean? The crystal has to want the royal blood of Atlantis. So, if the king has the royal blood in his veins, and I assume that's true because he's the leader, then why would the crystal accept the wife of the king? According to the given rules, that shouldn't even be possible. As another Atlantean, the wife could be some highborn noble, but, getting married does not change your DNA. It wouldn't change her blood. So the queen should not be of royal Atlantis blood, or else that would mean she's the sister of the king. Okay, maybe sister seems like a giant leap, and certainly she could be like a cousin, but hear me out. If you lived in a culture where the royal bloodline is directly connected to your ability to survive and thrive, i.e. the crystal, and that same crystal made you so powerful that you didn't have to marry for political allies, then wouldn't the logical conclusion be to dilute the royal bloodline as little as possible? I mean, especially if you have to worry about the crystal eating up some of your royals in unexpected moments. So if I'm right, that means that Kida has an auntie-mama, uncle-daddy situation going on, very similar to the Targaryens or the Lannisters in Game of Thrones. Which, with the Targaryens, their logic was very similar, where their blood was connected to dragons, so they wanted to keep it as pure as possible. But much like in The Lion King, where Mufasa was initially supposed to be the father of both Simba and Nala, Disney loves to raise questions about parentage without ever fully answering them, which is where crazies like me get space to jump into the scene. Huzzah! It's also interesting to consider, do all of the Atlanteans age at the same rate as the royal family? If it does take a special bloodline to commune with the crystal, then maybe that comes with extra perks, like an extremely long lifespan. So perhaps their language got lost because all of the reading scholars died within 100 years of the city sinking. Meanwhile, Kida and her father lingered on and on and on and on. That does cover a gap in the story. Although, there is a point in the movie where Milo goes, "Oh, if you were here when the city went down, then that would make you like 8,000 years old." And Kida's just like, "Yes."
What are you telling me? Do you remember because you were there? No, that's impossible because, I mean, that would make you, 85, 88, 100 years old.
Yes.
And she says that without any hesitation or emotion, like that's just normal. You would think that if it was just the royal family who lived that long, Kida would have said something to that effect, which makes this idea a lot harder to pin down. So what do you think? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts on Kida's lineage and the average lifespan of an Atlantean. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. And I would love to do a derps, but I can't think of anything to talk about, and there are no songs to sing from Atlantis, so no derps this week, I think. Sorry, guys. Although, having said that, I guess I could kind of twist this into another project I'm working on that I need help with. So, okay, let's brainstorm this. You guys, as a collective community, give me your ideas. I am now on the board of my local community theater. Yes, me. I'm an official community pillar or something now. Who knew? But we are working on some different ideas and projects to try and bring in a younger crowd. Right now, we might do a kid show, but because of all of the recent issues with the last few years, the theater hasn't really put on anything. But we're trying to find ways to bring in especially younger children and maybe teenagers. I kind of prefer to hook the younger kids because not a lot of people stay in this area once they get out of high school. They go off to college or go to a big city to work. So I kind of want those younger kids who are going to be around for a longer period of time. So what can we do? What can we offer to try and bring kids in the door that is not going to cost a ton of money or need a lot of volunteers to orchestrate? Because we just don't have either of those things right now. I also have our local developmental disability office wanting to work with the theater to come up with some more things to offer to disabled individuals. And I know we have a number of kids with autism that have done shows with us, but I don't really know what to even suggest. And when I talk to the developmental disabilities people about it, they're just kind of like, just do this thing that maybe is impossible for you to do physically. Our biggest problem is that our theater is in a 3-story building. We are on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and there's no elevator, so it is not easy for somebody with any kind of physical impairment to get up the stairs. Then we come into the issue that the developmental disabilities people really want to integrate with typical children in these programs and adults in these programs. And I know this area as a mother of a child with autism, that is also very difficult to initiate, because anytime a lot of these excuse me, but rednecks hear about, oh, you want them around somebody different? No, we ain't gonna do that. So, yeah, if you're from a small backwards town that hates everything, I mean, literally, the Boy Scouts of America said that they were going to let girls in, and so now all of the troops and all of the Cub Scout packs are shutting down out of spite in like a tri-county area. It's ridiculous. But that's a whole different issue. That's a derps rant for a different day. But yes, if you guys have any ideas for things that would bring in younger kids, different programs that we could offer for cheap or free, or any ideas to integrate the theater experience with more people with disabilities, I would love to hear from you, because I don't have a ton of ideas, and I don't know, like, my experience with disabilities is primarily around autism, so it's a whole different thing. And I have to pitch this and get it approved to a board of people who seem even less experienced than I am with disabled individuals. So I'm sweating it out a little bit here. I mean, our stage isn't even handicap accessible. I'm stressing about this. Like they want a good pitch of things that they can offer to their disabled individuals, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. I will take any idea. There is no bad idea. They might not all work out, but hey, maybe there's a spark in one idea that will lead to the right perfect thing. Or maybe several little ideas all amalgamate together to make the perfect theater chimera. I appreciate you guys and you all putting up with my crazy ramblings. I love you. We'll see you later. Oh, I need to turn my mic on. It's also safe-ish to assume that if the crystal... It's also safe-ish... Her skin, her hair, her clothing, it all says, I have been in Atlantis my whole life. Are you serious? We're out of time. Are you serious? Dang it! The end. The end. The end. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that? Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.